Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. This is the show where we teach you how to naturally get well and stay well. And I'm glad you could be here with me today. And what we're going to talk about today this is a big question I get in my offices all the time. Patients come in and say, Dr. Joe, I want to lose weight. And in fact, here at the studio, just walking to the booth today, got stopped by about 3 or 4 people, and everyone wants to know, how do you lose weight? How do you lose weight? And of course, we talk about the 7 deadly sins of nutrition, if you've listened to my show in the past. And those 7 foods are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Those I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. And those are bad. But there are some foods that are worse than others. So today we're going to talk about the worst foods you can eat if you're trying to lose weight. So of course, you want to stay away from the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Within that, we have some subsets. So the worst of the worst. Now, let's face it. You go to a grocery store, you go to a convenience store, school lunch programs, vending machines. They're full of chemical and sugar-laced foods that you should never eat. But they make up a surprisingly large portion of most people's diets. I am amazed when I look at what people are eating and I see what they're putting in their bodies, and I think, don't you understand how dangerous what you're doing is? So today we're talking about weight loss, but there's also the health factor. Now, I'm a chiropractor. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition. I'm a retired dietitian, award-winning author. My radio shows are heard coast to coast and around the world. And these credentials, and 32 years of practice, by the way, these credentials qualify me to talk about these things because I've seen thousands and probably tens of thousands of patients between my lectures, my radio shows, my practices. And so I know what people are doing. And I have friends. Surprisingly, I actually have friends. People actually hang out with me. And I'm amazed when I see what people are eating. I went out to dinner with a couple of friends of mine the other day. And we went out to a Korean restaurant. And I ordered, it was a vegetable tofu soup with veggie dumplings. And they ordered a meal with barbecued meat with it. Now, aside from the health factors, my meal was half the price of theirs. Mine was $9.99. Theirs was $18 and $20. I thought, wow. So eating right is not just about health. You're going to save a ton of money. But I digress. What we're talking about today are the worst foods if you're trying to lose weight. So here are some of the worst foods you could be eating. No order specifically. They're all bad for you. And you may be surprised to learn which ones are the worst. Because you're thinking, well, that's not bad. That's not bad. Well, it is. Now, all these foods are very acidic forming. What that means is when you put something in your body breaks it down, and what's left is called an ash. Just like if you burn wood, it's an ash. And whatever the ash is, it could be alkaline or acidic, the body, if it's acidic, has to neutralize those acids. And the body uses calcium and other minerals to neutralize the acids. And so we've got to be careful that if you're eating these foods, not only is it going to put on weight, it's going to suck minerals like calcium out of your body to neutralize the acids. So we got to be really careful what we're doing for many reasons. Now, I don't really care what motivates you. There was a song by Oleta Adams many years ago, and the line from the song was great. And the line was, I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. And I love that line because I apply that to what I teach you, my listeners and my patients. I don't care what motivates you. Do you want to get healthy? Do you want to lose weight? You want to save money? Get here. And once you get here, you're going to be very, very happy that you did. And I'll tell you a little side note here. I went to a barbecue a couple of days ago. And there was hummus there, and there was tomatoes, and I was very fine. And they had corn, and I said, well, I'm going to have some corn. And I didn't know if it was genetically modified or not, so I probably shouldn't have eaten it, but I did. And I ate 3 ears of corn. No big deal. I felt so fat and so bloated for like 3 days afterwards because the corn is loaded with sugar. That's where they make high fructose corn syrup. So the corn was loaded with the sugar, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. It tasted great. But that just made me feel so blah. And that's why they feed corn to animals, because it makes them fat. It's easy, it's cheap, and it makes them fat. So if you're eating things like corn is even, is a plant, it still isn't a good choice, but still not on my list of foods that are going to make you fat. If you put a lot of acid foods in your body, it's going to create inflammation. It's going to throw off your hormone balance. It's going to bog down what's called your lymphatic system, which is the system that flushes out waste products from your body. It can clog up your liver and other things that really are going to negate anything you've done healthy-wise. And I was talking to one of my coworkers right before I went on the air today, and she watched this documentary just recently. I think it was called What the Health? And she was saying, oh, my gosh, I was so turned off by eating food and the things that they talked about and how they feed the chickens and the animals and the junk they feed them. And the pigs can die, and they grind them up and feed them back to the other pigs. And I said, yeah, it's really gross what's in the food. So maybe your motivation is gross or trying to avoid gross. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's save the environment. I don't care how you get here. Just get here. All right, the worst foods in no particular order. Ice cream. I know you don't want to hear some of these things. You're going to get mad at me. You're probably not surprised ice cream's on the list, but maybe not for what you think about. Ice cream today is full of sugar and harmful toxic chemicals and bad fats. There's artificial flavors, there's artificial colors, which have been proven to be what's called neurotoxins, and they should never be allowed in food. And there's a lot of studies now on ADD, ADHD, focusing, brain function, and the chemicals that we add to the food are bad too. Now, when I was a kid, in fact, we used to make ice cream, I remember. We had a little ice cream maker, and you'd put ice and rock salt around it, and you'd churn it. It was the cream and the sugar, and you made ice cream. It had a nice flavor to it. Loved it. A little vanilla to it, some strawberries. Well, unless you're getting a really high-quality organic ice cream, you're not getting that anymore. And a lot of the chemicals and dyes and additives are causing a lot of damage to the nervous system. As a chiropractor, my job is to make sure your nervous system is working the best it possibly can. And there's two things that can interfere with a nerve, chemical or physical. Now, chemical would be food, drugs, alcohol, environmental toxins. And then there's the physical aspect. If a bone moves out of place and pinches a nerve, that's what we, the chiropractors, do. We put the bones back in place. So we want to look at the chemical aspects and the physical aspects of your health. And chemically, the chemicals we have today are different and way worse than they were when we were kids. 20 years ago, 30, I don't know how old you are, but, around 1980s is when everything changed. So it's not just the fact that it's a dairy product, and the cows then were fed grass. Now they're fed genetically modified corn, genetically modified soy, which has a lot of chemicals and pesticides sprayed on it. And interesting, side note, a lot of side notes today. I just saw a study that they're finding if they feed cows seaweed, which grows very quickly and is very inexpensive, the cows will eat the seaweed, they produce about 95 or 98% less methane. They have a lot less gas. And that gas, when it gets into the environment, is bad for us. So, and the meat is a lot less toxic. I was going to say more healthy. It's actually less toxic. So here's something that's cheaper, better for the environment, better for you if you're going to eat animal products, and is very sustainable. Seaweed grows like crazy. So that would mean that the cows that produce the milk, if they're eating this, are going to produce a lot less toxic milk. Not a bad thing here. So that's just letting you know what's happening in the news. So these neurotoxins, we talked about that, they damage the nervous system. And if you think neurotoxins won't affect your weight, you're wrong. Because there are chemicals now called endocrine disruptors that are causing us to put on weight. So years ago, calories in, calories out made a lot more sense. Now it doesn't. High fructose corn syrup, more fattening than sugar. And tastes sweeter, so you want to eat more of it. And of course, it's cheaper. Now, our brains have to maintain this delicate balance of chemicals that control our metabolic processes. So if a substance interferes, makes the balance go out of whack, of course, it's going to affect your body and your health because it's going to affect your metabolism. There are better choices, and I always try to give you better choices. So if you like ice cream, and I haven't had it in years, you might consider better choices. Now, there are plant-based ice creams out there now that are spectacular. So, for example, coconut ice cream. Now, I'm not saying you should eat ice cream because it's loaded with sugar, coconut or not. But if you're eating something with sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup, and you're eating something that's plant-based like coconut, you're going to not be as toxic. Now, you still should only eat about a half a cup. That's like a scoop. If you're going to eat it at all, I don't want you eating it. But if you do, I'm negotiating with you, at least make better choices. Now, I'm going to tell you about coconut ice cream. Don't eat it. Because if you do, and you start eating it, you're going to love it so much, that you're going to want to eat a ton of it, or you're going to give up the regular ice. Regular ice cream is blech compared to coconut ice cream. So coconut milk ice cream, almond milk ice cream, and in fact, a lot of the major grocery store chains now are coming out with their own plant-based ice creams, or frozen desserts, I think they're calling them. So what does that mean? That means that there is a demand for these products. That companies are saying, the customers are saying, I want more of this. And when other companies start making a lot of profit, everybody wants to kind of, edge in on their area. And so you're starting to see more and more of these products come out. Organic is so much easier to buy than it used to be. There are health food stores popping up. You just saw Amazon trying to buy Whole Foods. So you're seeing the trend in natural foods, which I find ironic. If these are natural foods, what are the other foods you're eating? Something to think about. So you can try these plant-based ice creams. They're dairy-free. They're really good. Just make sure they're sweetened with, I hate to say this, not sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. How about that? Other things that are the worst, and this is my downside, not my downfall. Like I said, I just did this the other day, is corn, and it's specifically corn chips. Now, since the advent of genetically modified foods, most corn we eat is made with genetically modified corn. If you don't know what that is, you need to. Because last study I read, it was 94% of all soybeans and 92% of all corn in this country is genetically modified. It's called a frankenfood, like Frankenstein, altered. And the frankenfoods are causing a lot of problems. And I find, personally, that I pack on the pounds very quickly when I start eating things like corn chips. Corn is one of the most genetically modified foods. It's loaded with sugar, high sugar content, and it causes rapid rise in blood fluctuations. And that translates into fat hoarding and weight gain. So when your sugar goes up and down, your body stores more fat. And I find, and I'm sure you will too, that when I eat something sweet, I want more sweets. Because I remember after my barbecue the other day, when I had my corn, I came home and I'm thinking, I could go for a sandwich. I don't eat bread. I can't remember the last time I ate bread. I could go for a sandwich right now. Why? I want those sugar. I started getting sugar cravings. What else do I have around here that's sweet? So instantly, I started going toward stimulating my dopamine receptor sites and my nucleus accumbens, which is the part of the brain that gives me pleasure, which is stimulated by sugar. So I had the corn or corn chips, and I started getting that craving. Potato chips do the same thing. And so think about this. Notice when you have cravings, what did you have the meal before? Chances are it was something like sugar that stimulated those craving centers in your brain. Now, the corn chips not only are made with genetically modified corn, which is loaded with sugar, it's fried. And when you fry them, you create a lot of inflammatory chemicals. Many times we use what's called a vegetable oil, and it's not a vegetable oil. It's corn or soybeans, which are not vegetables, by the way, or peanuts. And we fry the foods, and when we fry sugar at a high temperature, we create something called acrylamides. A lot more on that later. And the acrylamides are known carcinogens. So the worst thing, we take genetically modified corn, which is loaded with sugar, and it's genetically modified, which can alter your hormones, and then we grind it up, and then we fry it, creating trans fats and free radicals, and then we eat it, which stimulates the pleasure centers in our brain, and we want more. It's hard to eat one potato chip, isn't it? It's hard to eat one corn chip, isn't it? Because once you start, you can't stop. And this now leads to an addictive personality. I don't want to go so far as to say it's a gateway food, but it's a gateway food. If you start doing this, you're going to want more. I had corn the other day loaded with sugar in it. What did I want? I wanted more corn. I wanted more breads. I wanted more carbohydrates. So start to think about these foods when you put them in your body because it can affect the nervous system. As a chiropractor, my job is to make sure that your nervous system is working 100% physically as well as chemically. Now, if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. I would love the opportunity for me and my team of doctors to be your doctor. So if you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. Again, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We accept people with all insurances. We accept people that don't have insurance, car accidents. Here's the thing. If you've ever been in a car accident, ever, and the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. I've never seen, in 32 years of practice plus all my years of schooling, where the car was damaged and the occupants weren't. Now, the insurance company might say, well, it was only $500 worth of damage. You weren't hurt. What? What a stupid, ignorant statement. Because your head snaps around, and your head is not as tough as the car to hit you, and when it whips around, you damage the ligaments and the muscles. So if you've been in an accident, even if you have no pain at this moment, you want to get it checked out because there may be damage. So if you want to make an appointment for whatever reason, bring your family, bring your friends, and bring your children, by the way, folks. Children need to get healthy right away. They're in a bad environment right now. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We'd love to have that opportunity. So we're talking today about foods, the worst foods to eat when you're trying to lose weight. Another one is pizza. Most commercially available pizzas are on the market, and they're made with artificial dough conditioners. Now, if you look on there, you'll see the word bromine or bromate. Now, bromine is a chemical, and it's called a haloid. And bromines, fluorines, chlorines, fluoride and chloride, and iodine are all part of the haloid family. And your thyroid gland needs iodine to function normally. So you eat foods with iodine. Most people don't, by the way. I have 2 products that I created. You've heard me talk about them, called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And these are the 2 supplements I take every single day. And the essential source is fruits and vegetables, and we juice them, take the water out at a low temperature, and then we have a powder. Then we take the sugar out, too, by the way. We add prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a complete multivitamin, and we add sea vegetables. Why sea vegetables? You don't taste them, don't worry. The sea vegetables are a great source of iodine. And then super greens alkalizes your system, and they also have seaweed or sea vegetables in them. Again, you don't taste it, so don't worry. And what we're doing is most of us are deficient in iodine. And we need to get iodine in our body to make the thyroid gland work properly. So I thought, let me create a supplement that's going to, it's the simplest, easiest one-shot deal that you can take to get the nutrients that you need for the day. And that's why I take their powders. I take a scoop of each. I mix it with coconut milk and shake it up. I was talking to one of my coworkers, again, before I came on the air. And he said, I got to stop by and get some more green goop. And I said, you call it green goop? He says, I feel like I'm addicted to this stuff. He says, because he's on early in the morning. He says, if I wake up and don't have my Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, he goes, I don't do as good a show. He says, I love that stuff. And it's acclaimed all over the world. I mean, we get people from all over the world buying this stuff. And I take it every day, and you should too. Now, what does that have to do with pizza? Pizza has bromine in it, and bromine looks like iodine and can block up your iodine receptor sites. And so you don't absorb your iodine properly. So you think you're saving money and time by buying a frozen pizza, throw it in a microwave or whatever, cook it up and eat it. The dough conditioners can be affecting your thyroid gland, which controls your metabolism. So aside from the fact that the dough is made with wheats or sugars, the grains break into sugars, it has this bromine in it, which now is affecting thyroid function, and you're not going to be happy. We bleach the flour many times. That's not good for you. The sugar, of course, eating wheat is like eating sugar. It's just eating tablespoons of sugar. And that's going to get into your system, and that's going to cause you to gain weight. It throws off sugar imbalances, which then creates more sugar cravings. Now, if you have cheese on your pizza, contrary to popular belief, cheese is not a health food. Cheese is loaded with bad fats. It's heavily processed. If it's commercial cheese, the cows are usually fed steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods. Not a good food. And by the way, if you're eating a wheat pizza, there's very little fiber, if not zero, maybe zero fiber. The cheese has no fiber in it. The tomato sauce, maybe a fraction of a gram of fiber. And so this stuff gets into your colon, and it creates what's called a bolus. Now, bolus is a ball. So imagine you take some bread, dip it in water, and squeeze it into a ball. That's kind of what happens to the dough in your colon. And it's really hard for the body to push that through and get it out. And so the food now sits in your colon and it rots. The wheat, many times recently, is now being sprayed with glyphosate, which is a weed killer. And what we do is, they spray the weed killer on the wheat crop to kill it before it's harvested, because it's easier to harvest if the wheat stalks are dead. And then they pick off the wheat berries, and then they grind them up and make wheat, but that those pesticides can still be on the wheat. And so a lot of people, if you'll notice, are having more reactions to wheat. It may not be a wheat allergy. It may be a reaction to glyphosate, which is the weed killer. So I'm Italian. I hate to talk bad about pizza. However, not a good choice. Now, if you have to have pizza, and I talked about this on a show just recently, you can get what's called cauliflower crust pizza, which is actually cauliflower. Does it taste like wheat crust pizza? No, it doesn't. However, it kind of gives you the idea that you're having pizza. And it's not bad, and I don't eat eggs, but you can use eggs as a binder in it, and it's okay. Is it as good as Grandma Esposito's pizza? No, it's not. I'm going to be honest with you. But if you have to get that pizza craving filled, you can buy the cauliflower crust pizzas as well. You can buy the shell or just the pizza itself. I use plant-based cheeses, vegetarian or vegan cheeses, because I don't eat dairy products, and it's fine. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not as good as Grandma's, but if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. That's a great phrase I came up with years ago. If you knew what I knew, you would do what I do, because I understand what happens if I were to eat something like that. I understand what happens if at the barbecue the other day I had those barbecued hot dogs or those barbecued hamburgers. I won't do it. Would I like to have had a hot dog and a hamburger? Sure, I used to love the taste of hot dogs and hamburgers. However, with the artificially processed cheese food spread on top, and the ketchup, which is 42% high fructose corn syrup, and the bread, we just talked about bread, I know what happens when I put it in my body. And so what I want you to do is, I want you to cut these foods out, and when we come back, we're going to cover a lot more about the foods you want to avoid that are causing you to gain weight. But I want you to notice how you feel after you eat something. So whether you believe me or not, and there's no reason not to believe me, of course I'm telling you the truth, but notice how you feel when you eat something. I had pizza and I fell asleep because the saturated fat clumped my red blood cells together. I couldn't carry oxygen. I got tired. My sinuses ran. A long time ago, I remember I went to a concert. We were running late, and there was a sandwich shop right there. So I'm going to just have a veggie sandwich. And I don't eat wheat very often. I woke up that night, 2 o'clock in the morning, sneezing. My nose was runny. I couldn't get to sleep. I was having a reaction to the wheat. Now, I don't eat it a lot, so I'm a lot more sensitive than somebody who eats it all the time and feels junky. I was going to say something else. Feels junky all the time. So I had a bigger reaction. Most people are sick all the time, like I used to be, and you don't realize how bad you feel. So I want you to, this is my challenge. Let me just give it to you. I want you to do what I tell you to do for 60 days. Now, if you go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, by the way, you can order Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source on the website. Those are the supplements I think everybody should be taking, and I think you'll be very happy like everybody else is when they take it. And it's relatively inexpensive for what you're getting. And go to media and go to my YouTube channel and watch a video that I did called The 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition. Then, under radio, you can look up the lecture that I did, So What Can I Eat? So 7 Deadly Sins, What Not to Eat. So What Can I Eat is the What You Can Eat. And I want you to listen to those two. And then I want you to do everything I say for 60 days. If I'm wrong, so what? I'm wrong. But if I'm right, which I am, and take the Super Greens and the Essential Source too, by the way, at least do that. Then I want you to consider maybe making some lifestyle changes. It's free. So what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. You get 2 hours of really funny lectures because I tell you some bad jokes in there. But those are on the website, drjoeesposito.com. You can order Super Greens and Essential Source there. We have an intestinal cleanser, other products, my books, Eating Right for the Health of It, Prescription for Extreme Health, all on the website. And I archive all my radio shows. They're called podcasts now, not called archives. And you could listen to hundreds of hours of radio shows, videos of my live lectures. Oh, check out my live lectures, too. If I'm lecturing in your area, I'd love to have you come out. They're a lot of fun. And I can show you things I can't show you on the radio because so much of healthcare is physical, not chemical. As a chiropractor, I always look at the physical problems as well as the chemical problems so that we can naturally get you well and keep you well. Now, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, again, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctors. Now, I have 5 other doctors as well as me. All my doctors are handpicked by me, are trained by me, and are my personal doctors. And I say all my doctors that I work with are as good or better than I am. So when you come in, you know you're going to be in good hands. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoeesposito.com or just Google Dr. Joe. You can order the supplements there. You have questions, send me your questions through the website. I'm more than happy to answer your questions for you. We accept patients with all insurances. We accept patients with no insurance. We accept patients in car accidents, sports injuries, workers' comp injuries. Folks, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, chances are you have a pinched nerve, and chances are you're suffering needlessly. And so many people come to my offices, and the biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? Stop suffering needlessly, folks. Go to the website right now, make an appointment, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Hey, do me a favor. Tell your friends about the show. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for being here. I am Dr. Joe Esposito, and what we're talking about today are the worst foods you can eat that cause you to gain weight. And I know that's a big issue because a lot of us all want to lose weight. So there are certain things you're going to be surprised to talk about, certain things you're going to know that are the worst things to eat, of course. So French fries, absolutely positively one of the worst things you can put in your body. And the reason is that there's multiple. Now, no doubt, not only do French fries contain something called trans fat, they've been linked to a long list of diseases. And they also contain something called, it's one of the most carcinogenic substances known to man. It's called acrylamides. Now, acrylamides are chemicals, and they're formed when white potatoes are heated to high temperature, such as frying and other toxic cooking methods. Acrylamide can cause inflammation of the body. It throws off the pH, and it also is very acidic. Now, we talk a lot about acidity. When you put something in your body that's acidic, your body has to neutralize those acids, and the body uses minerals like calcium as the primary neutralizing agents. So you're literally sucking minerals out of your body to neutralize the acids. So it's a potato, which is not good, which is a sugar. And when we fry it, it becomes acrylamides, which are known carcinogens. And we fry them in usually peanut oil, corn oil, soybean oil. And these oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids. And when they're high in omega-6 fatty acids, they produce inflammation. Now, as a chiropractor, my job is to get you on an anti-inflammatory diet. Because if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, you've been in a car accident, a sports injury, we have to get the bones realigned as quickly as possible to take the pressure off the nerves. If there's inflammation, the inflammation is counterproductive to what we're trying to do from a chiropractic standpoint. So we want to get you on an anti-inflammatory diet. And French fries are like the anti-inflammatory diet because they're so pro-inflammatory. And we need to bring that inflammation down. So, acrylamides can cause inflammation, throws off the pH, they're known carcinogens. Why do you eat French fries? One reason, they taste good. I know they taste good. You know they taste good. I was talking about this on a show the other day, and somebody sent me an email. They said, yeah, well, French fries are bad, but baked potatoes don't create acrylamides. And I emailed back like, well, I know that. I wasn't talking about baked potatoes. I was talking about the frying. So if you bake the potato, not bad. But if you're going to do potatoes or anything that grows underground, they have to be organic. Because if we spray toxic chemicals on our plants year after year after year, it builds up in the soil. So anything that grows in there is going to cause problems, but if it grows underground especially, it's bad. So organic, good. Not organic, bad. That goes for carrots, onions, parsnips if you eat parsnips, turnips. So anything that grows underground needs to be organic. And if it's grown in organic soil, you can scrub off the skin and then eat the skin, which is good. I always found that interesting that, somebody came up with the brilliant idea of potato skins. We would throw the skins away and serve the inside of the potato. And somebody said, hey, what if we just stuffed it with cheese and bacon, and then we can sell it and not waste the potato skin? I love potato skins. They taste great. Of course, I wouldn't do the cheese and the bacon, but maybe you do. Most oils they fry in they turn rancid because if you heat the oil and it starts to smoke, immediately the oil is rancid, no matter what the oil is. If it's coconut oil, avocado oil, as soon as it starts to smoke, it reaches what's called its smoke point, and it becomes rancid. So we want to stay away from that. And if you're eating French fries, they're not changing the oil every time they make a new batch. What they're doing is they're recycling it over and over and over. And many times, if you're going to commercial French fries, they're going to fry them in the oil that they might have fried meat and other things in there too, which of course are not good for you either. So French fries, absolutely positively one of the worst foods you can eat if you're trying to lose weight. Researchers are discovering that inflammation is a factor in things like heart disease, cancer, arthritis, weight gain, and of course, as a chiropractor, pain management. So French fries, not good. Now, if you have to eat like a French fry, what I want you to do is this. And again, I'm not giving you permission to do this. It's not a good choice. It's not as bad a choice. Take some sweet potatoes, Slice them up, organic. Scrub them first. Leave the skin on. Dip them in olive oil, coat them in coconut oil. Seasoning the way you want to, and bake them because the temperature is not as high. And if you do this, if you parboil the potatoes, which means you boil them halfway, and then cut them up and bake them, the acrylamide level drops dramatically. I'm trying to cut a deal with you here. I understand this is a hard thing to do, so I'm trying to work with you. Potato chips, well, kind of like the same thing as French fries. What the Health Canada, potato chips typically contain the highest levels of toxic acrylamide of any food. So French fries bad, potato chips worse. Now, I like potato chips. They taste yummy. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm getting the low salt or the organic or the fried in avocado oil. They're still bad, folks. They're creating a chemical called acrylamides, which are known carcinogens. Why, God's name, would you want to eat something that you know contains carcinogens? Why would you do that? I don't know. Went to a barbecue the other day, cooking up hot dogs on the grill. On a grill that was at a park. So it was this grill. God knows what was cooked on this thing over the years. And so they're cooking on this grill with charcoal, which is a toxin. The charcoal has petroleum in it, like lighter fluid, which is a carcinogen. Then they're adding the hot dogs to it, which have nitrates in them. Nitrates and nitrites, when they're heated around protein, hot dog meat, or whatever it is, create nitrosamines, which are also known carcinogens. And they're browning the hot dogs, which create heterocyclic amines, which are known carcinogens. And then the fat from the hamburgers are dripping down into the coal, creating a smoke, which contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are known carcinogens. So I know I throw a lot of chemistry at you there. Did that without notes, by the way, too. But that's so bad for you. When in reality, at the barbecue, I had corn, and I had tomatoes, and I had hummus, and I was full. I shouldn't have eaten the corn because I felt like I gained actually 2 pounds. That weekend, I weighed myself. I gained 2 pounds because the corn is so loaded with sugar, and it was genetically modified, so I made a mistake there. I don't know if it was genetically modified. How about that? So a lot of toxic chemicals at a barbecue. Then you put it on white bread, which has bromine, which can clog up your thyroid because bromine looks like iodine. Body absorbs bromine like it does iodine, clogs up the iodine receptor sites. You can't absorb the iodine, so your thyroid doesn't work, which causes you to gain weight. Wow. So there's a lot of stuff out there that you're putting in your body you think is good, but it's not. Bacon. Bacon. Sorry, bacon lovers. According to research in the journal Circulation, daily consumption of processed meats like bacon or any type of cold cut can increase your risk of heart disease, ready, by 42% and diabetes by 19%. So here you are eating cold cuts, sandwiches, pepperoni on your pizza, bacon, 42% increase. This is from the journal Circulation. Why? And would you want to put that into your body? I know why. Tastes good. I remember growing up in Hoboken, New Jersey, there was an Italian delicatessen called Vito's right around the corner, and we'd go there and they'd slice the salami really thin on an angle, and you'd make a white bread sandwich with mustard and salami, and I could taste it right now. It's been 45 years maybe since I've had that. Probably, no, longer than that actually, probably maybe 50 years. I could still taste how good that was. But the difference is this. 50 years ago, the cows weren't fed the steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods, and now they are. And we didn't have as many nitrates and nitrites and nitrosamines and these other chemicals. Now we do. And so that's why Europeans, many times when they come to America, or South Americans, any other country comes to America, they'll eat the food, and this food is awful. The meat has no flavor, the bread is soggy and yucky, and the fruit doesn't have juice in it and sweetness, because we've really messed up our farming. And it's going to change. The trend is shifting. We're going back to eating better foods. The pendulum is shifting back, which I'm fine with, and I'm happy that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. But I'm letting you know what's happening today. So contrary to some of the dietary plans, they say eat a lot of meat. I know that was an argument. The low-carb, all-meat diet, and people lost weight like crazy. Yeah, but the risk of heart disease skyrocketed. And so that was a problem. They said, well, it lowered your cholesterol in your blood. What happened was it's caused the cholesterol to stick to your artery walls, which is the stuff that's so dangerous. So not a big fan of that. So bacon, probably not what you want to do. Still not convinced? Before you say yes to bacon, consider the other health effects from eating bacon. A study out of University of Columbia found that eating bacon 14 times a month, which is about every other day, was linked to damaging lung function and significantly increased the risk of lung disease. Remember, no weight loss plan should cause you to lose your health. I'm going to say that again. No weight loss plan should cause you to lose your health. That's a really big, important statement because people say, I want to lose weight at any cost. I had a friend of mine send me a message on Facebook the other day. Oh, by the way, like me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. We send out lots of good information there. We don't bombard you, so don't worry about it. If you sign up for my newsletter, if you send me a question, I'm going to save your email address. We're going to put you on our email list. We're never going to send you junk. We're never going to give it away. But we like to stay in contact with you. It's important. And sometimes we run specials on our Super Greens and our Essential Source and our books and stuff. And so if you're there, you can always find out about those specials. But she said, I got to lose 20 pounds fast. What do I do? I said, eat vegetables, take Super Greens, take Essential Source, my supplements. Make sure the bowels are moving 2 to 3 times a day. Eat a high-fiber diet. Another trick you can do is take some chia seeds. Take about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And I do this almost every day. And I make tea, herbal tea. I put a little stevia in there. And I'll just put the 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in there and put them in the refrigerator. And then the next day, I'll drink my chia seed sweet treat. And, boy, that works great because it really fills you up. It prevents hunger, loaded with good nutrients, and it really pushes everything through your guts to clean out your colon. Because most people have about 10 to 15 pounds of undigested rotten junk in their colon. And when you clean out their colon, they're very happy because they go, oh, I lost 10 to 15 pounds. Well, not necessarily. You just cleaned out your colon. You didn't lose fat. You lose junk. But, hey, if it motivates you, it motivates you. So that's good stuff. So chia seeds, nice little trick you can do. I like to soak them. The reason is they swell up a little better, and then you can do that. You can make chia seed pudding, but I just like the tea. It's easier. But back to bacon. No weight loss program should cause you to lose your health. Yet that's exactly what a lot of these high-protein diets do, particularly when they say things like regular consumption of bacon is a good idea. Well, it's not. I mean, I don't think anyone in their right mind can honestly say, well, bacon is good for you. It's not. It's made with pig, first of all. And there is no organic bacon, by the way. I've never seen organic bacon because they don't make organic pork because there's not a demand for it. Now, if there was a demand for organic pork, there would be organic bacon, but I don't know of any. If it's out there, that's something I don't know about. Now, if you read a book written a couple of thousand years ago, I think it was a best-selling book ever, and it says in Leviticus, when Moses wrote Leviticus, the Bible, folks, when Moses wrote Leviticus, he even said, don't eat pork. And there are some religions you can get killed for if you eat pork, if you touch pork. It's a dirty animal. And that was thousands of years ago. Now, it's a lot worse. So, turkey bacon, probably not much better. Still has the nitrates and nitrosamines, which are known carcinogens. But pork, of all the meats, of course, when Moses said don't eat pork, and there are religions, 2 of the 3 major religions still say you can't eat pork, it's probably rationale behind that. I don't think it's made up. So let's go to hot dogs, the brother of bacon. And again, we're talking today about foods that cause you to gain weight, the worst food you can eat if you want to lose weight. Aside from we don't know what's in hot dogs many times, even 100% beef variety, study out of University of Hawaii found that consumption of hot dogs and other processed meats increasing the risk of pancreatic cancer by 67%. Not a small number. One of the ingredients found in both bacon and hot dogs is sodium nitrites. Nitrites, of course, are linked to things like leukemia and brain tumors in infants. Other studies show that sodium nitrite promotes colorectal cancer. Now, there are veggie dogs made with soy. They're okay. Not my favorites. If I have to eat one, I will. But it's just okay. Now, when I grew up in Hoboken, New Jersey, I won't say a brand name on the air, but the hot dog, my favorite hot dog was they would take pig intestine, take the colon, wash it out. That's what sausage casing is, by the way, folks. It's washed out pig colon. So they wash out all the poop, and then they take the ground up, whatever it was, and stuff it back into the colon, tie it up, and when you bite into the hot dog, it would crunch. You were tearing up the pig colon. And I tell you what, man, that tasted great. Nothing like a little pig rectum to brighten up your morning. And I would put it with onions and onions and sauerkraut and a spicy mustard. And man, that was good stuff. I remember it tasted good. But once again, it wasn't the same stuff we're eating today. It was a different time. It was a different food supply. And so these things can disrupt your hormones, which can cause you to gain weight. Now, folks, my goal as a chiropractor is I want to get you well. Now, whatever you decide to do is totally up to you. When patients come in my offices, I'll tell them straight out, listen, I'm going to give you a nutritional workup. Whether you do it or not is up to you. I'm going to recommend supplements. Whether you do it or not is up to you. I can't make you do these things. But I can tell you this, that when people do it, I don't have anybody ever come back and say, Dr. Joe, I changed my diet and I'm eating better. I'm taking Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And boy, do I ever regret that. Never. Yeah, Dr. Joe, you're right. You know, if nothing else, if you're not willing to do anything else, at least do Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. That's the minimum that you should be putting in your body. And those are on my website, by the way, drjoeesposito.com. Also on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account, you can order from Amazon. It may be a little easier for you. But that's the minimum. Then start making a few changes. And again, as a chiropractor, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, car accidents, we want to fix any physical damage that occurs. You deal with the chemical damage that occurs, and then the body gets well. It's not hard. It's easy. It really is easy to be healthy, folks. It's not hard. It's not this big thing. And the governments are fighting over health care and health reform. It's not health care. It's insurance they're fighting about. Health care is what you get from your doctors. Insurance is what, well, used to pay for it. I say it pays for your health care, but it really doesn't anymore. I mean, you have $6,000 deductibles and co-pays. We have co-pays. Some patients have co-pays that are more expensive than what we charge. And so the insurance company says, well, they're paying you more than what you should be getting paid anyway, so we're not going to pay anything. So guess what? You don't have insurance. I don't care what the card says. If they're not paying for anything, you don't have insurance. So you need to take control of your own health. I get you're not going to do everything I say. I totally get that. But I want you to at least get some information and start making some changes. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctors. So go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. We accept people with all insurances. We accept people without insurance, car accidents, sports injuries, workers' comp. Stop suffering needlessly. So many of you have neck pain and headaches and shoulder pain. I got a call a while ago from a friend of mine's son, and he said, hey, Joe, it's Bobby. I said, hey, Bobby. And he said, listen, I hurt myself water tubing or water skiing the other day, and my shoulder hurts. And I said, how long did you do it ago? He goes, about 2 months ago. I said, why'd you wait so long? He goes, I don't know. I said, still hurt? He goes, yeah. I said, come see me. He said, can I come see you today? And I told him the day to come in. And I thought, why did you wait so long? And he says, I don't know. Did it hurt? Yeah, it hurt. So, folks, stop suffering needlessly. If you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we will set you up a time to come see us. Offices Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So we're going to continue talking today about food, the worst foods you can eat if you're trying to lose weight. Donuts. Do I need to go over donuts? Now you're thinking, well, fresh donuts better than prepackaged, but most donuts are about 35 to 40% trans fat, which is the bad fat, which can lead to heart disease and liver damage. It's the worst kind of fat you could eat. Trans fats are linked to obesity, heart damage, brain damage, as well as cancer. And then there's the sugar and the artificial dough conditioners like bromine that can block up your iodine receptor sites, which can affect your thyroid function, which can affect your metabolism. And it's not bad enough. Donuts contain about 300 calories. So donuts are not a health food. And it's amazing. If you eat these things, these are the things that are going to be the hardest to get off your body because they're stored as fat. And if your goal is to be healthy and to lose weight, these are the foods you want to avoid. Soda. A can of cola has about 10 teaspoons of sugar, 30 to 55 milligrams of caffeine, and loaded with artificial colors and toxic chemicals. Also, the can many times is lined with something called bisphenol A, BPA. BPA is an endocrine disruptor that can actually cause you to gain weight. So now, in modern day, where it used to be food could cause you to gain weight, now we're finding chemicals can actually cause you to gain weight. And it's an acid. When you put acid in your body has to neutralize the acid, and the body uses calcium as its primary neutralizing agent to suck the calcium out of the bones to neutralize the acids, which are found in the phosphoric acid. Even the bubbly soda itself, bubbly water, seltzer, is acidic. Now, if that's the worst thing you do is drink some bubbly water, some seltzer, I'm okay with that. But it is an acid. And that acid could cause your body to lose minerals because it has to be neutralized. And that's linked to things like osteoporosis, obesity, tooth decay, heart disease. Not a good idea. If you're thinking about switching to diet soda, that's not going to help you lose weight either. Diet soda is the winner when it comes to the worst foods you can eat to try to lose weight. Now, isn't that ironic? The worst thing you could eat is the thing that has 0 calories. Not only does diet soda have the most of the problems as regular soda, like acids, it also contains things like aspartame. Aspartame breaks down to aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methyl esters. Aspartic acid, when it gets in your brain, stimulates your brain and can actually make you hungry. And it can cause brain cells to die as well. Aspartame is linked to things like anxiety attacks, binge eating, sugar cravings, birth defects, blindness, brain tumors, chest pain, depression, dizziness, epilepsy, fatigue, headaches, migraines, hearing loss, heart palpitations. I was going to do it in one breath. Hyperactivity, insomnia, joint pain, learning disabilities, PMS, muscle cramps, reproductive problems, and even death. So, not a good idea. Aspartame's effect have been mistaken for Alzheimer's. Because if you have, it's aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methyl esters. Methyl esters or methanol toxicity can mimic things like Alzheimer's. It can lead to chronic fatigue syndrome, epilepsy, Epstein-Barr, Huntington's. Well, these are things it's been misdiagnosed for. Lou Gehrig's, Lyme disease, Meniere's disease, multiple sclerosis, and even what's called post-polio syndrome. So I have a lot of people come in, and if they have things like MS, I'll say, did you have an MRI done or a CAT scan? And they'll say yes. And I said, did they see white focal spots? And if the answer is no, then I always dig into their diet. And a lot of times I'll find that they're doing artificial sweetener because methanol toxicity mimics things like MS and fatigue. And I'll say, listen, I want to detox you. I want to get you off all the artificial sweeteners. Let's do it for 6 weeks or 6 months sometimes, but 6 weeks is usually enough. And I get them off all the artificial sweeteners for 6 weeks, and suddenly their symptoms start to get better. And I've had neurologists, diagnose somebody with a problem. I'll get them off the bad stuff, get them on chiropractic care. I've always put chiropractic care in there because you got to get the body functioning physically. And I'll send them back to the doctor, and the doctor will look at them and say, what did you do? And I'll say, I went to go see Dr. Joe. And I said, if you saw Dr. Joe, I know what he did. You're doing better. Keep doing what he's doing. Hear it all the time. So the artificial sweetener, not a good idea. Now, it still astounds me that some diet programs include things like artificial sweetener. It just blows my mind. The other thing we have to have if we're going to try to lose weight is normal bowel function. We have to make sure our bowels are moving 2 to 3 times a day. Now, if they're not, as a chiropractor, I check the nerves, for example, in the low back. The nerves in the low back will give you back, hip, leg, knee, and foot pain, but they also control the colon, the sex organs, and the bladder. So if you have a pinched nerve in your low back, you might have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, urinary problems, sexual problems, PMS, period problems with the ladies, because that nerve controls everything that's from the low back down. In the neck, if you have a pinched nerve, you might have headaches, neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, but you can also have blurred vision, dizziness, loss of memory, fatigue, ringing of the ear, sinus congestion. This is when you have pinched nerves physically affecting the body. And then you have the chemical aspects of the body, like we just talked about. When you fix the physical and the chemical and the digestion, you have to get the digestive system working. Because I know when my stomach is pushed up against my diaphragm, first of all, I start burping a lot. But second of all, I can't stop eating. And just about every overweight person I've ever worked with, I find their stomach is pushed up against their diaphragm. We need to manually massage or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm so that your stomach digests food, so you can send message to your brain that you are full. Now, I used to be fat, folks, so everything I just talked about today, I've been through. I totally understand what you're going through. And these are things I want you to consider incorporating into your life if your goal is not just to lose weight, but to be healthy. If you're overweight, you're eating bad foods, so you're not achieving the optimum health level that you can. So cut out the bad foods. Take Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source. If your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, we have something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. That's on my website as well. And you can get all this stuff all the information on the products at drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Now, folks, if you want to make an appointment to come see us, and I think you should, by the way, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. There, you'll see a way to make an appointment. You can call us or do it online. We want to be your doctors. So neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, car accidents, sports injuries, stop suffering needlessly. Get fixed. It's all on the website, drjoeesposito.com. You can order the supplements. You have questions, send me questions through the website. I'm more than happy to answer your questions because I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions when it comes to health. I also archive or I blog these, podcast them on my website, drjoeesposito.com. You can listen to those for free. Come out to my live lectures. Check my schedule. I'd love to have you come out as well. Hey, folks, I got to run. Thanks so much for listening. Tell your friends about the show again, drjoeesposito.com. We'll talk to you soon.